Ever wonder why some people always earn respect effortlessly? They're never interrupted. Their time is never wasted. So, what makes them different? And what do they have that you don't? I'm about to tell you something that's going to make you angry. The reason they get respect isn't because they're smarter, richer, or more successful than you. It's because they know one psychological trick that you've never been taught. A trick so simple, yet so powerful, that once you understand it, your entire life will change. Someone cuts in front of you in line, and you say nothing. A friend cancels plans last minute for the third time, and you just smile. Someone takes credit for your idea, and you let it slide. You know what you're really doing? You're training people to walk all over you. But here's the part that's going to shock you. The people who never deal with this, they're not avoiding it by accident. They're using a dark secret about human psychology that Machiavelli discovered 500 years ago. A secret that separates people who command respect from people who beg for approval. What if I told you that being liked is actually making you weak? That every time you try to please everyone, you're giving away your power? That the harder you chase approval, the less people actually respect you? This isn't feel-good advice. This is raw psychology that works every single time. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some people naturally command rooms while others disappear in them. Why some people get listened to while others get ignored. And most importantly, how to become the person who never gets disrespected again. Are you ready to stop being everyone's backup plan and start being their first choice? Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. Respect over approval. From this moment, the tone shifts, because what follows isn't comfort, it's exposure. The hidden weakness of being liked doesn't announce itself loudly. It hides behind smiles, politeness, and patience. Every single person who has dismissed you, interrupted you, or treated your presence as optional sensed something before you ever did. They sensed that you needed their approval more than they needed yours. And once that imbalance exists, respect quietly dies. Think carefully. When was the last time someone truly respected a person desperate to be liked? Not admired, not tolerated, respected. It doesn't happen. Desperation carries a scent, subtle but unmistakable. Humans detect it instinctively, the same way predators sense hesitation. And when you prioritize being liked, you don't just become agreeable, you become readable. Your reactions are easy to predict. Your limits are visible. Your silence becomes permission. This is where the danger deepens. Predictability doesn't just make you comfortable, it makes you replaceable. Once people know you'll always smile through disrespect, always agree to keep the peace, always show up even when your time is treated like trash, they stop valuing you. Not consciously, instinctively. The harder you chase approval, the less weight your presence carries. And here's the uncomfortable inversion. The people you respect most are never the ones begging to be accepted. They're the ones who would be just fine without you. That's not arrogance, that's leverage. Human psychology is brutally consistent. We pursue what feels scarce and disregard what feels guaranteed. When you chase approval, you lower your own value in real time. Machiavelli warned about this centuries ago, not as cruelty, but as observation. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Fear here is not terror, it's consequence. It's the silent understanding that crossing you costs something. Look back at the figures who shaped you most. The strict teacher. The boss who didn't tolerate excuses. The friend who told you the truth when it hurt. None of them needed your approval to stand firm. They had boundaries, and they enforced them. Meanwhile, those who tried to please everyone were slowly erased. Because when you make yourself available to everyone, you become special to no one. This is the trap. Being nice feels safe. Being agreeable feels moral. But deep down, the people benefiting from your need to be liked don't respect you for it. They rely on it. They smile, they flatter, but they know exactly how far they can push. And every time you bend for scraps of validation, the lesson reinforces itself. Respect is not requested, it is established. And once that truth lands, there's no unseeing it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose power. Now that the illusion is cracked, the next truth cuts deeper. Respect is not a feeling people give you when they're in a good mood. It's a reflex. And that reflex is built on one brutal principle: consequence. Not punishment, not drama. Consequence. When people know that crossing you costs them something real, their behavior changes automatically. When they know it costs nothing, they test you without hesitation. Most people misunderstand this. They think respect comes from being impressive, more successful, more talented, more useful. But that's admiration, and admiration is cheap. It fades the moment someone more impressive walks into the room. Respect is different. Respect comes from knowing you will not tolerate being diminished. It comes from boundaries that are not theoretical, not emotional, but enforced. Look closely at what happens when someone disrespects you and nothing follows. No response, no withdrawal, no change in access. You've just taught them a lesson. Disrespecting you is free. Not risky, not costly, free. And humans, without exception, repeat behaviors that carry no consequences. This is how patterns are formed. This is how nice people become invisible. But when the response is immediate and quiet, something shifts. When disrespect leads to loss of access, your time, your effort, your presence, the lesson burns in fast. No lecture is required. No emotional explanation. They simply learn, don't do that again. This is why the kindest people are often treated the worst. They made themselves safe to mistreat. And once you are safe to disrespect, respect becomes impossible. Here's where the awakening begins. The moment you make it clear that your attention has value, that your energy is not unlimited, that your presence must be earned, people start recalibrating around you. They measure their words. They hesitate before crossing lines. They stop testing how much they can take. Not because you demanded anything, but because you changed the cost. Machiavelli understood this well. People do not treat you how you deserve. They treat you how you allow. No better, no worse. This is the dark power of respect. It feeds itself. Demand it once through action, and it becomes easier to maintain. The more it exists, the less you need to assert it. An upward spiral forms, invisible but absolute. And here lies the critical difference. When you demand to be liked, you hand control away. You wait. You hope. You adjust yourself to their reactions. But when you demand respect, you take control by refusing what violates your standards. Respect is not something they give you. It's something you claim by walking away from anything less. Think of the most respected people you know. Do they explain themselves endlessly? Do they negotiate their boundaries? Do they soften their standards to keep others comfortable? Never. They simply do not accept disrespect. And that refusal becomes their gravity. This is the dividing line between power and powerlessness. The powerful treat respect as non-negotiable. The powerless treat it as a reward for good behavior. But you cannot earn respect by giving your power away. You earn it by keeping it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My worth isn't debatable. Because once this lands, another realization follows, and it's unsettling. Every interaction you've ever had has been about control. And if you haven't been aware of it, you haven't been holding it. Number 3, the psychology of control. Here's the truth most people never confront. Every interaction is a quiet negotiation of control. Who leads the conversation? Who sets the terms? Who adjusts? Who reacts? And the rule is simple. If you don't know who's in control, it isn't you. Approval seekers surrender control without resistance. Every time you soften your opinion to be accepted, control shifts. Every time you stay silent to avoid tension, control shifts. Every time you say yes when your body is screaming no, control shifts again. And it doesn't stop there. When you need approval to feel stable, you've handed someone else the remote to your emotions. They decide when you feel confident, when you feel anxious, when you feel worthy. That's not connection. That's dependency. And dependency is exploitable. This is the moment of realization, the emotional peak most people avoid. When you desperately want to be liked, you become programmable. You change opinions. You hide parts of yourself. You bend values slowly, then all at once. You become what keeps you accepted. And that is not a relationship. That is submission, dressed up as harmony. A quiet form of slavery that never announces itself. But the moment you no longer need approval, the leverage disappears. People lose their ability to steer you with guilt, praise, or pressure. Confident people aren't unbothered because nothing hurts them. They're unbothered because their self-worth is no longer controlled externally. They are psychologically untouchable. And that terrifies anyone who relies on emotional manipulation. Machiavelli wrote that everyone sees what you appear to be, but few experience what you truly are. The moment you stop performing for approval, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. When others can't anticipate your reactions, they can't manage you. They can't push your buttons because the buttons are no longer connected. What happens next feels almost surreal. Manipulators lose interest. They can't guilt you. They can't shame you. They can't bait you into explaining yourself. Your decisions become clean, sharp. Instead of asking what will keep everyone happy, you ask what serves you. Instead of adjusting to every expectation, you set your own terms. And here's the paradox. Some people will disappear when you do this. Let them. Those relationships were built on access to your compliance, not respect for your presence. The ones that remain deepen. They're real, balanced, mutual. This is the shift that changes everything. From "I hope they like me" to "I don't need them to." From "what do they think" to "what do I think." From "I need approval" to "access must be earned." Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my worth. Now comes the most uncomfortable layer. Because the need for approval isn't just habit, it's chemical. And like any addiction, once you see how it's used against you, you can't unsee it. Number 4, the addiction to approval. This is where the story turns dark. Because your need to be liked isn't just emotional, it's neurological. Approval triggers dopamine, the same chemical released by drugs, gambling, and addiction. A compliment, a like, a bit of praise, your brain lights up. You feel relief, validation, safety. And when it fades, you crave it again. That's how the loop forms. People around you notice this faster than you think. They learn exactly how little approval it takes to control you. A compliment to keep you working late. Praise to borrow money. Sweet words to excuse disrespect. They don't need force. They don't need threats. They just drip-feed validation and watch you comply. And the most dangerous part? You participate willingly, grateful for scraps. That's why approval addiction is so powerful. It makes you easy to manipulate, predictable, manageable. Anyone who understands human behavior can pull your strings if your self-worth depends on their opinion. But remove that dependency, and the entire system collapses. Compliments lose power. Acceptance loses leverage. Emotional manipulation stops working. Here's the brutal truth. Validation is cheap to give and expensive to rely on. It costs others nothing, but it costs you your independence. Machiavelli warned that those who chase what ought to be, instead of dealing with what is, destroy themselves. When you shape yourself around others' expectations, You fracture your identity. You become masks instead of a person. Breaking this addiction isn't comfortable. Your mind will resist. It will whisper that disapproval equals danger, that without acceptance, you'll be alone. It will guilt you for choosing yourself. This is the test. Discipline over impulse. Identity over approval. You must be willing to be disliked to become free. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My validation comes from within. Now the transformation becomes practical, because awareness without action changes nothing. Machiavellian rules are not about cruelty. They are about survival in a world that respects strength. Speak less, act more. Over-explanation signals weakness. Enforce boundaries without speeches. Remove access instead of arguing. Never chase approval. Indifference is magnetic. Stay cold under attack. Emotion gives others control. Remain unpredictable. Predictable people are easy to manipulate. Be strategic, not reactive. Be fox and lion. Enforce boundaries swiftly and silently. Speed matters more than severity. Scarcity multiplies value. Constant availability erodes it. Distance creates curiosity. Selective presence creates power. Not cruelty, selectivity. When fewer people have access to you, those who do treat it with care. Some people will leave when you do this. That's not loss, that's filtration. The ones who stay respect you. The fog clears. Your confidence stabilizes. Opportunities come to you instead of being chased. Stress drops. And something deeper happens. You become psychologically free. This is destiny in motion. The world is full of people begging to be liked. It is desperately short of people who command respect. And the difference is a decision. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most. Most people retreat from uncomfortable truth. You didn't. That means the shift has begun. So don't stop now. Like the video, subscribe, comment, because if you walk away before implementing this, you'll stay exactly where you are. Respect is my birthright. And in a world obsessed with approval, the person who doesn't need it holds all the cards. Be that person.